Hello, Brodus Maximus, and hello, ladies and gentlemen. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to another sermon from Nazarene Way. Now, just to set the stage, here is how the cadence of Nazarene Way is going to work. Right now, we are at our grassroots level. I'm just seedling along this church. I'm just growing this, okay? It is very, very small, and I just had a take where my wife was filming and recording, and she had a laughing attack because our dog Frank started licking his balls, and then Fitzy was crying on her shoulders. I was halfway through the sermon, and she just dropped the phone. It was just bear with me at this point in time. Anyway, on the second Friday of every single month, I will be doing an in-depth sermon. Otherwise, our sermons are going to be very private. Our congregation is very, very small right now. It's growing, and as such, on a regular basis, I'm going to be having my sermons, but they're going to be very small and private. We're going to be taking the Eucharist as outlined in the Didache and, sharing a lesson and focusing on the Nazarene way. Now, for today's sermon, I want to share something brief with you, and that is a reading from this fascinating book called James the Brother of Jesus by Robert Eisenman. Now, Robert Eisenman is somewhat known as a fringe scholar. He is an independent scholar that studied the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Qumran and freed it up and opened it up to the entire world. Now, he has a compelling thesis and theory that one of the teachers in the Dead Sea Scrolls is actually James the Just, James the brother of Jesus. And what's interesting is James was the leader of the Nazarenes after the death of Jesus of Nazareth. And he was, the core pillar of the three pillars of Jerusalem, which is comprised of James the Just, John the Apostle, and then also Simon Peter, aka known as Cephas. Now, I want to share a sequence with you to outline something interesting. You see, it's no surprise that the Nazarenes didn't exist and thrive after the fall of Jerusalem. The only religions and beliefs that did thrive are those that aligned themselves and ensconced themselves in the power at the time, which was the Romans, the pagans. That religion, they kind of merged and branched into the Roman religion, and that's why it survived. That's why Christianity survived, okay? All of the ones, like the true teaching in the sect of Jesus of Nazareth, died off because they were anti-establishment. They were, they did not like the fact that Romans came in and took over Israel and, kind of just operated over, the Hebrews and the Israelites, right? So I want to share this passage with you. It is, "For this reason, it is proper to refer to the authors of these documents as comprising a movement of some kind, which is always at its core anti-establishment. Its precise name for the moment must be left indeterminate, but the way, aka the Nazarene way, and the sons of Zadok, and the poor, the simple, the Ebionites, right? Which is what the Nazarenes later became known as. The meek, the perfect, the sons of light, the holy one, or combinations such as the zealots for the day of vengeance, the poor ones of piety, the zealots of righteousness, and perfect of the way, are all terms cropping up in their repertoire as self-designations." I'm going to skip ahead to this last component. All of these groups, too, can be considered as allied or related in some way, all being anti-establishment and having common enemies. So this is just fascinating. I want to share another piece with you as outlined. And this one is really, this is just, it's the most literature at the time pandered to the Romans for survival reasons. And the New Testament suffers from the same defects, wherein their Christology, aka their beliefs and their patterns are written for the Roman audience so that their words can survive and that they won't be executed, even though the early Nazarenes were persecuted and executed because they were anti-establishment. They were anti-Roman, right? And the Dead Sea Scrolls does not suffer from the same defects that the New Testament does. This is why it takes, and this is why I get into in the Nazarene Way, it's kind of I don't just pull open the frickin' Holy Bible and take it at face value and say, hey, this is the inerrant word of God, because it's not. It is written by humans. It has evolved over time. It is written in certain socioeconomic climates and settings where if you need to understand it, if you want to understand the truth, you need to study deep, profound books like this. And even though Robert Eisenman is kind of a fringe scholar to some degree, he's actually well respected by many, but also there are many critics of his because he makes this large assertion that the teacher of righteousness, as outlined in the Dead Sea Scrolls, is James, the brother of Jesus, which is fascinating. His overall point, which I think is true, is that if you want to understand Jesus, you need to first seek not Paul of Tarsus, okay, who has authored, most of the letters in the New Testament. You need to study James, the brother of Jesus, as outlined in the Gospel of Mark. Surprise, surprise, Jesus had brothers. It's hidden in plain sight. Even though there's a lot of priests that do a lot of hand waving and say, oh no, it's cousins. No. Study James the Just if you want to learn more about the true character and the spirit of Jesus. Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you another time. Peace.